Okay, so in number 8 from classwork 521, right? Here we're looking at Travis has a CD, Certificate of Deposit, with Bank of America, um, which lets him accrue 7% annual interest compounded quarterly for 5 years on a $5,000 investment. So in part A, we made a model and just it's just like a lot of the other compound interest problems we've done. We know the principal, we know the interest rate, we know how long, we know how frequently we're compounding it. We can easily make this model and calculate that, right? But I'm going to leave that one up for people to do themselves. Then we look at part B, and I think that we could use some clarification here on what's going on. So it says after the initial 5 years that the CD is open, the interest decreased to 1% indefinitely. Um, what that means is essentially a CD tends to have kind of like a contract of like, oh, okay, we'll give you this interest on this like deposit. We'll give you this 7% for 5 years, but then after 5 years, we're not going to keep giving you that good of a rate. We're going to decrease the rate to 1%. And then like you can, and then at this point, it stops kind of being a C. It just sort of like lowers how much you're gaining after 5 years. So it's the same setup. It's just that once 5 years has passed, we need to change our rate from 7% to 1%. Okay. So it then tells us he originally deposited the $5,000 in the CD on January 1st of 2010, right? So uh, January 2010, he deposits $5,000, right? After 5 years, if you think about it right, it'll be January 2015. And that's when we get our answer from part A. That's what our answer for part A tells us, right? But then it says Travis forgot about the account until today and wants to take his money out. Well, what's today? Today it is April of 2020. So it's been another 5 years and 3 months, right? So then it's like, okay, how much is his account worth now, right? Um, there's this extra little stipulation added on here, which says that if he wants to take out his money, there's a $50 withdrawal fee for not withdrawing during January. Um, so how much money will he have if he withdraws now? So we need to calculate this, like how much is the account worth in April of 2020. That's what we need to figure out. So um, let's say that our answer to part A was P, because I don't want to tell people the answer to part A yet. Then we need to create a model for January 2015 until April of 2020. So we need to create a model that spans this time period. So we have P times what? Our compound interest formula tells us we have 1 plus the rate over the number of times compounded per month per year times n to the power of t, and that is equal to the amount that you are worth at time t, right? The principal we'll leave open because that's the answer to part A. What is the rate? What's the rate during this time from January 2015 on? Yeah, it's 1% indefinitely, right? Um, so then we have P times 1 plus zero point zero 0.01. It's actually N is going to still be 4. It's still going to be because we're still dealing with quarterly interest. It's just that the interest rate yeah, that I get it. That's confusing. The interest rate just decreased from 7% to 1%, but it's still compounded quarterly. And then to the power of 4 times time. And this is where things get a little bit tougher because we need to think about what is T right now? What is T going to be? How long has it been from January 2015 to April 2020? So that's where this gets a little tricky, and this problem has a little bit of kind of showing you guys some of the nuance in this. It's actually going to be more than 5 years. How much more? How much more do you guys think it's been? It's gonna. So you know what's going on here? Let's look at a timeline here. In January 2015, so January 15, we have some amount of money, right? It's compounded quarterly, so we don't gain money until after one quarter. That's going to happen in April of 2015. So it gains some interest, right? Then after another quarter in July of 2015, it gains more. And after one more quarter in September, it gains more again. And it keeps going like this until we get to April of 2020, right? So what's happened here is that actually we've done one quarter extra beyond 5 years. So we would need to actually have our exponent here. T is going to be 5 and a quarter, 5.25. And so, yeah, this is one of those things where this is why it's useful to have compound interest instead of simple interest. Because if I was doing simple interest, that 4 months that he had waited to take out the money, right, or the 3 months from January to April, he would have gained nothing. But instead, now he gets, an extra quarter of a year's value applied to his CD. So that if you go ahead and you plug that 5.25 in for T and you have your principal interest from part A, you should be able to calculate this. Any questions on that one? No? Caitlin, does that make sense? Cool. Sounds good.